Oh, football. That's always this when you do it.
Yeah.
Or was just kind of watching. Yeah.
Like something to
I
have on
don't get,
TV.
I don't get too weird about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chaska Parks and Recreation Commission, Tuesday, February 13th, 2024, call to order. Roll call, please, Mary.
Chair, Jason Branch,
Here.
Elizabeth Wyving, Vice Chair. Here. Georgianne Keyport. Zach Zaresig. Danielle Haie. Carly Whitner.
Here.
Michael Hauer. Terry Schwerm. Kevin Hill.
Here.
Sam Hassan. Here. Thank you.
All right, item number 3, adopt agenda. Does anybody have any changes or additions to the agenda as it was presented? If not, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
I motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Sitch and Winebean. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nays. Agenda is adopted. Next is visitor presentations. Seeing none, we will move to approve previous meeting minutes.
Excuse me, Jason.
Sorry.
Just as part of visitor presentation, we thought this would be an opportunity to just welcome our new Park and Rec Commissioner.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Great.
so. Welcome to Kevin Hill and his, newly appointed position to be a part of the Park and Rec Commission. And, maybe Kevin, if you wouldn't mind just sharing, what you're looking forward to and a little bit of background.
Sure. My name's Kevin Hill. I have lived in Chaska mostly since I was about 4 years old. Work for the county attorney's office as a criminal prosecutor. I have 5 young children from 8 to 4, almost 4. So there's triplets in there, so that explains why the shortened times period. But yeah, just looking forward to giving back to the community and just assisting in whatever way possible to help get kids outdoors and make fun spaces for them.
Great.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Great to have you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Welcome, and I'll also just interject too with congratulations to those of you that were recently reappointed. So Carly, Sam, Danelle, and then Jason were all 4 reappointed after they had completed their most recent terms. And then also congratulations to Jason and Liz, who will all be serving as both chair and vice chair respectively. A commission going. So congratulations to all of you, and I just can't, thank you enough for your service and dedication and advocacy for the things we do within our department. So thank you.
Thanks, Marshall. Okay, item number 5, approve previous meeting minutes. Is there any discussion on the previous meeting minutes? No discussion. I will entertain a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes.
Motion to approve the previous meeting minutes.
Second.
First from Kevin, second from Sam. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Hi.
Motion approved. Okay, on to 6, staffing updates.
Hey. We're gonna come up to the podium for this one. Chair and Commissioners, tonight I want to formally recognize Kelsey McNutt, who is our Community Center Manager. It's sort of a sweet bitter update here because she does great things, but Kelsey is going to be moving on from the city of Chaska and going to be serving as the next Parks and Recreation Director for the city of Shakopee. And so we're super excited for her in her next adventure, but I wanted to take the opportunity to invite her back to the commission and just recognize the work that she's done in her role as the community center manager. So we hired Kelsey back in January of 2019. She was the first, what I would say, kind of official full-time hire that I made when I had come to the city shortly before that. And we actually recruited Kelsey from Colorado to come and serve in this position. She was within the South Suburban Park District that was kind of part of the Denver area. Little did she know when she came in January of 2019 that she was about to experience the polar vortex that Minnesota has. So I think it was within that first month.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
experiencing like negative 70. I'm like, are you sure? You made the right decision. So I think that set her up for resiliency going forward from there. And it's just kind of crazy to think back that, it wasn't even a year into it and then COVID hit, right? And so Kelsey, really came in at a time where, there was just a lot of change going on in the department, and then you throw that on top of it, it was quite the challenge. And she did a phenomenal job navigating us through that. There were 2 different times where we had to completely close the community center down, reopen it. I mean, and every day was just a different set of challenges, and it was through her leadership and direction through her team that ultimately helped us get through that as a community. In Kelsey's role this year, as a manager, she oversees approximately a $5 million operating budget. She's got 6 full-time direct reports. She's got another 8 full-time staff that would be under them, so kind of indirect management, and 100+ part-time staff throughout the community center. So it's a big role for our department. And some of the things that I just like to point out, some of the bigger accomplishments that Kelsey has done in her time here. Number 1 was developing a capital replacement plan for that facility. So prior to her coming, that did not exist. And it's an aging facility, as we know. And without that level of detail, it's really hard to plan. And so Kelsey really took the initiative to work with staff to literally define all of the capital within that building, assess what its current life is and how much life expectancy is remaining, and then determining what the cost of replacement would be, so that we could start to get our heads around what a true annual amortized amount we would need to keep up with our capital over time, which we came up with right around
800,000.
about
Yeah,
$800,000 annually to keep up with that facility. So, but it's through that level of detail that we've been able to plan over the last few years for some of the capital things that were due to be replaced, and be a little bit more proactive around it. That's not to say Kelsey has not had to come to me several times with several curveballs.
Spendy
Yeah.
items.
She got rather used to knocking on my door and going, Marshall. This is not working right. And, so we would have to work through that. She's also done a great job of refining the community center budget and then working with staff to be more involved in the budgeting process. So when we first started, the community center budget report was somewhere just shy of 100 pages. And it was an in-depth budget report. We've worked to sort of condense and consolidate some of our budgeting codes to make it more manageable. And now we're down to about a 40-page report. So a lot of that is to Kelsey's credit. During COVID, we did quite a few projects, and a significant one was a lot of remodeling and rehabbing of our aquatic center. So all new pumps and filters went into there, new pool decking, repainting, new LED lighting, new ceiling fans. So that was kind of the big area where we reinvested in while we were closed. But that was a big undertaking and a lot of projects and coordination. And then also our functional fitness area, creating that space at the bottom of the steps, right outside the locker rooms, was another new space that Kelsey and her staff helped implement. And then over the last couple of years, Kelsey's played a big role on the project management team for the community center master plan, and really helped kind of influence and shape where that's landed today. And then lastly, I would say, probably the thing that I appreciate the most and observe the most was just her ability to develop her staff. She's very passionate about her staff and really created a strong sense of teamwork amongst that group. And, ultimately it's that creates the passion amongst our staff, and then the service delivery that they're providing our residents and our members and our guests on a day-to-day basis. So big thanks to Kelsey.
Thank you.
She's going to be greatly missed. But she's one of those superstars that I kind of knew coming in was going to move on to bigger things over time. And she's done just that. And now we get to be, park and rec cohorts.
I will be far.
Yeah. So.
Congratulations on your
Great.
new,
Thank you.
new role, and we appreciate all that you've done for the city of Chaska while you were here.
Yeah, Shakopee has a lot of great things going on right now, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, their Lions Park,
Sure.
their Lions Park renovation is a very big one as
Yep.
well, so. Yeah, I frequent that one for disc golf quite a bit,
Okay,
so
yep.
that's what I'll be watching. But thank you very much for your service. Really, very much appreciated. Okay, that brings us to item number 7, action items. 7A, recommendation to city council for approval of the 2040 pedestrian and bicycle master plan.
All right, thank you, Chair and Commission. Just gonna go ahead and switch my screen here. Share it out. All right, is that showing up on the screen for you? Great. All right, well, I'm excited to bring this item forward. This has been a project that has been ongoing now for almost 3 years. So a lot of thought has gone into this. And, following up from a couple of weeks ago, we had an opportunity to have a joint work session with the city council to preview this plan and get feedback. And I think it was pretty overwhelmingly, supported at that meeting, and a lot of great ideas already stemming out from it. So we're bringing it back here today, more as the formal process, and I'll give a similar presentation that I gave to city council, just so it's on record. And then from there, open it up to any questions or discussion you have, but ultimately looking for a motion with your recommendation to city council for approval of the plan at the end. So first off, start off by thanking those who were involved in this plan and helping to shape it. Starting in the top left there, Carver County Public Health played a big role in helping to fund the plan. So through their SHIP grant, we were able to get the entire plan funded for us to be able to go out and hire a consultant to work on the plan. And through that process, we ended up with the community design group. So a big thanks goes to them and Antonio Roselle, who is the lead principal from Community Design Group. He's got a lot of vast experience when it comes to pedestrian and bicycle master planning. He's been in the industry over 25 years. He's an urban planner and a civil engineer, and he's done upwards of almost 100 plans throughout his career across the Midwest. So he brought a lot of great knowledge and experience to the planning process. And then he utilized WSB Engineering as a sub-consultant throughout the planning process. And then thanks to the project steering committee, this was a committee that was made up of both city staff, some commission representation, along with representatives from the community. The role of the steering committee was to be a little bit more involved on the front end with our consultant to provide some feedback and guidance, and then ultimately to become advocates for the plan and encourage people out in the community to respond to some of the feedback opportunities that we made available. And then be part of the review process once the plan took shape as of more recently. And then there was a project management team that consisted of city staff, primarily city department heads, just because this plan does go across several departments throughout the city. And we worked closely with the consultant throughout the planning process. So as we were getting the feedback from the community, we utilize that feedback along with, to some of the best practices towards developing a plan in conjunction with Antonio to meet on a regular basis to help put this plan together. And then lastly, just thank the community at large. We saw a lot of great community engagement and feedback throughout the process. So appreciate that. So start out with the intent of the plan, which was ultimately to develop a plan that could build on the overall success of the trail system and sidewalk system that Chaska is already known for, and to provide some more recommendations that can increase funding opportunities and encourage even more people to walk and bike in Chaska between now and 2040 for both recreational and transportation purposes. And we sort of established that 2040 year, more so just because that's what our current city's comprehensive plan is based off of, is a 2040 plan. So this is kind of given a vision for us to work on things, throughout the course of that comprehensive plan. And then just note that there are many recommendations that are in this plan that are going to require further evaluation, community engagement, funding, and approval before we would ultimately implement them. As far as the timeline, the project timeline goes, this depiction of pictures is again really kind of paying homage to the people before us and the leaders that helped create and shape the system that exists today. And so I look back to when Chaska first started to develop as a town, and that's really ultimately when it would have started, when roads and sidewalks would have begun to get built, and thinking about people walking and biking around town. And then you fast forward into the 1960s, where it was pretty innovative for the Jonathan Association to be a part of Chaska. And, ultimately there was a real creative vision for what that association was going to be here in Chaska. And it was all about connecting community and creating a network of trails for people to connect with one another throughout their backyards and whatnot. And so I think that was another big foundation here in Chaska. And I think we see a lot of that vision and sentiment that got carried out even up to today as we look at our trail system. And then there's the picture of the ravine there. That's something that's really unique to Chaska. Not every town has the ravine system like we do. And so being able to, position that and build off of it is just something that is really kind of cool to have right here in our backyard in Chaska. And then the lower left there really depicts, just as we get into a little bit more modern time and looking at, as Chaska's developing and we're getting more highways and roads are getting a little bit more difficult to cross, we got to start implementing some technology. And so that's a picture of the Hawk signal system that's just outside of the Curling and Event Center for people to be able to get across Chaska Boulevard. And then the final picture there is, just a neat picture of kids out on the trail. And that's where I think Parks and Recreation comes into play, and a little bit more of our role is, taking these great amenities and facilities, but then how do we encourage people to get out and use them and take advantage of the trails and sidewalks that we have. So the goal of the plan is ultimately to increase the number of residents, workers, and visitors who choose to walk or bike for both transportation, recreation, health, fitness, and fun in the city. So really trying to kind of think of, we have essentially a benchmark of use today, but ideally this plan is going to result in implementing some more things that ideally is going to increase and encourage even more use on our trail system. And the guiding principles that went into developing the plan, first and foremost, it was to use a framework of a 6 E's approach for success. And those 6 E's encompass engineering, evaluation, education, encouragement, enforcement, and equity. And so, I think when people think of, developing a trail plan, automatically you think of the engineering and just creating more trails, which is certainly a component of the plan, but I think it's these other E elements that really kind of round everything out and puts us on a path for success. And this framework really stems from the League of American Bicyclists, which is a nonprofit organization that really is kind of on the forefront of establishing, what are the benchmarks communities would achieve to become a bicycle friendly community. And so that's where we built this plan around. We also want to take an all ages and abilities system approach so that everybody has access to utilize the system. And then to increase safety, perception of safety, and user comfort. So those were some of the thought processes going into the development of the plan. In that, the graphic on the right really depicts what I would say is the opportunity that's ahead of us. In that, the national survey data, when you ask adult bike riders, what category they fit into, 60% would say that they're interested but concerned. So there's the interest there to want to bike more, but for whatever reason, they might not feel safe or they might not know where they're going, whatever the reason may be. But to me, that's the opportunity where if through our plan and through some of our initiatives, we can get some of that 60% of people to actually bike more, that's just a good thing for the community and a whole other host of benefits that it provides individuals. 30% would put themselves in the category of not able to bike for whatever reason, or just not interested. But there again, over time, some people within that category may convert over to interested. And then you've got the 9% that are enthused and confident, and the 1% that are strong and fearless. So these are the people that are already out riding, so they're gonna, love anything we do to, make it better. But they're already doing it, which is great. And so I think it's just important to, mention that this plan is really developed more around that 60%, where we can try to encourage those that, may have some concerns, but would ultimately want to bike more over time. So looking at the benefits of developing a pedestrian and bicycle plan, you can just see a whole host of benefits that it can provide. So first and foremost, increasing funding opportunities. So by having an adopted master plan that aligns with other city plans, it allows us to pursue some grant opportunities, whether those are programming type grants or on up to some large scale grants when we're looking at engineering based projects and building more infrastructure. Plan overall would improve safety for everyone, increase livability and equitable access to trails, parks, schools, work, and other community destinations. Not everybody owns a car. And so there's a sort of a human rights component to making sure we've got a system that allows for people to walk and bike to get to where they need to go, whether it get food or possibly even get to work. Increase household and community prosperity, improve air quality, increase residents' options for recreation and health and healthy physical activity, and then enhance Chaska's desirability and regional economic competitiveness by providing the type of amenities that residents, young families, and visitors expect. And so a couple things there, and I think this came out in our discussion with the city council at the work session, that I would highlight here is, there's an opportunity within this plan to also engage our business community. And, it's already, been researched quite heavily, to where communities and areas that have robust and vibrant sidewalk and trail systems, they're attractive to businesses. Businesses want to locate within those communities, and then that becomes another amenity for them to attract employees to their business as well. And then the other thing that a great system can help produce is a sense of tourism. And I think there's a great opportunity here in Chaska, especially as we're about to finalize the new underpass that goes under Highway 41 within our downtown. And then the extension of that trail along Engler Boulevard, which is ultimately going to be a connection to the regional trail system. So there's going to essentially be the opportunity where individuals could bike from the Minnesota Twin Stadium, Hopkins area, all the way on down into Chaska, and then continue into Carver. There's even going to be plans for a bridge that's going to go across the river in Carver, for it to continue to extend southwest. So just a great opportunity for people to get out and ride the trails. But I think it's going to be especially unique because that segment is going to be bringing people into Chaska's historic downtown area. And then there's going to be those opportunities to park and then walk around, grab a bite to eat, do a little bit of shopping, things like that. So that's very exciting, that's going to be on our horizon. And I think overall, you take all of these benefits, and add them all up together, and I put it in there that it ultimately improves quality of life. So I see this as sort of a quality of life plan for our community to generate more walking and biking. So as we started to develop the plan, we utilized a variety of community engagement methods to get feedback from our residents. So working with our consultant, we put up a project website where we were able to keep all of the latest information available for people to access. We developed an online community survey. We created an interactive online wiki map. So that was a map where people were able to go right into a map of Chaska, and they were able to draw routes that they would like to see, or they were able to pinpoint maybe areas of concern or areas that they like to frequent, and then just provide open-ended comments as well that helped give us some feedback. We participated at several community events. We sat down with some communities of people and did some focus group meetings. And then we also utilized our social media. And in the end, we had a great response. So we had close to 1,000 people that took the online survey. And then we had over 100 people participate on the interactive map and recommended new routes. And then again, over 100 people that went into the map and put in different destinations, the barriers, things of that nature. And then over 650 unique visitors went to the project website to stay informed throughout the process. And there you can see the 5 community events we participated at. So we had a Cycle Chaska event, Bike to School Day at Clover Ridge Elementary School, Fire and Ice Community Festival, River City Days, and then our Touch a Truck event at the community center. And then the 3 focus groups that we conducted were at the Lake Grace Apartments, Riverview Terrace, and then another discussion with our middle school and high school mountain bike club team at one of their end of year banquets. So throughout all of that, aside from getting reassurance that our residents love our existing trail system and that a lot of people currently walk and bike as it is, they also express that there is room to grow and room to improve. And when asking them, what could we do that would invite them to walk or bike even more often? This was the kind of the list of items that rose to the top or that was most often alluded to. So those included things such as growing the network of walking and biking routes, making it easier for people to cross busy streets, increase separation from motor vehicle traffic, addressing existing gaps in the trail network, improving lighting along trails and streets, installing more bike racks, expand winter maintenance of walking and biking routes, and then providing maps and trail signs to find destinations more easily. So a lot of that feedback you'll see has been, identified and accounted for within the plan in terms of future recommendations. In addition to the community feedback that we got, some other factors that went into developing the plan was to take a look at our existing conditions and assets throughout the community. We also engaged staff and got staff feedback. And then took a big kind of close look at a lot of our existing plans and making sure that this plan was in alignment with some of the efforts that went into developing those. So our 2040 Chaska Comprehensive Plan that I alluded to earlier, the Carver County 2040 Plan, the Metropolitan Council's Regional Bicycle Transportation Network Plan, Chaska Downtown Master Plan, our Wayfinding Master Plan, and then also looking at MnDOT's best practices and guidance as it relates to pedestrian and bicycle plans, along with the U.S. Department of Transportation and U.S. Federal Highway Administration. So best practices within those agencies, where they were applicable within our plan. So as a result, next I'm going to kind of transition into just an overview of those 6 E components. That gives a little bit of a highlight of where we're at. And again, there's a lot of stuff that's in the plan that, I think it's 100 and almost 50 page document. So what I'm covering here is what I would say are maybe more of the maybe near term things we're going to be working on that we built more into the executive summary. Just because we got to start somewhere. So looking at engineering, on the left there is really depicting our current trail and sidewalk map. So throughout this planning process, we've worked a little bit more closely with our county's GIS department to just account for what already exists within our system and the beginnings of developing a map that we can put out to the community. And then on the right there is what the recommended bicycle network would look like. And so, just to kind of go through that, the dark green lines are existing trails throughout Chaska. The dotted green lines would be where we would be implementing, future, trails, that would be more of the shared use path trail. And again, pointing that out, that if we're gonna build a system that is based more on that 60% where people are interested but concerned, safety is the big concern. And throughout the, surveying and talking with people, most people prefer to be on a trail that is separated from the road. So there's a buffer between cars and them on the trail. And so, I think, in more of a downtown Minneapolis urban setting, you see a lot more bike lanes and whatnot. And that's just because there isn't the room to put separated, use trails. But out here in more of a suburban environment, the priority is going to be more of those shared use path trails. Let's see here. The yellow lines, what those areas are depicting would be existing neighborhoods that don't have, sidewalk networks currently. And so we are, labeling those as like neighborhood slow streets. And so this would be one of those where it would require further evaluation over time. And we would be looking at the opportunities when we're coming into those neighborhoods and doing a road reconstruction project, where we would then start looking a little bit closer at, how could we also design it in a way to encourage more walking and biking, within that neighborhood, and ultimately to connect them to the nearest, trail that exists. So that's what those are. There's a couple of pink dotted lines here. If you follow my cursor there, and then over here, those are a couple of trail segments that already exist, but they're, crushed gravel, trails. And so we would be looking at, opportunities to convert those to paved trails, in the future, and just to increase accessibility. And then we've got some blue dotted lines. There's one here, which is going to be within the future Autumn Woods development. And then you're seeing a lot of it within our, downtown area. And that's where we don't quite have an answer yet. And so that's a yet to be determined, facility that would require more evaluation. And then the last one would be, there is a small section here of, a dotted orange line. And that would essentially be the bridge that would, cross the river heading south of Chaska. And that is calling for a protected bike lane there. So again, with a bridge system, you don't have a whole lot of options. But, if we want to encourage people to bike, south of Chaska along 41 and head toward Shakopee, right now it's a little uncomfortable, being right next to the cars. And so, ultimately this plan would, look to develop some sort of a protected bicycle lane in the future. So that's giving us a vision, for what's ahead. And then we also took a look at, developing, kind of a top 10 trail project priority list, as we go forward. And the great thing is the ones that are, depicted in red, we are actually currently in the midst of already planning them. So we are currently working on 4 out of our top 10 trail projects. So the first one would be the one I mentioned, the downtown underpass along with the trail extension along Chaska Boulevard. The second trail segment would be going along Creek Road. So a lot of work's going into that. If you didn't already know, Creek Road is no longer going to be a road that will be serviced all the way through like it has in the past. And so currently we're working on bringing water and sewer up Creek Road to be able to feed some of the industrial infrastructure on top of the hill. But as part of that project, we'll be including a trail segment. And that too is another connection that's linking to the regional trail network within Carver County. The third trail segment would be along Engler Boulevard. So it would be from Park Ridge Drive, the entrance going into the community center, going east over to Audubon. So currently that is a segment of road where we don't have any trail. And working with the county as they're planning for a road reconstruction improvement project along Engler Boulevard, which is going to go from Bavaria to the west over to Park Ridge Drive. That's the road reconstruction project, but we were able to work with them to put this trail segment in as part of that road reconstruction project. So that'll be a huge addition to close one of those gaps within our network. And as part of that trail segment too, we've recently submitted a grant through MnDOT Safe Routes to School to also incorporate another underpass within this Engler segment. So currently, there's a little bit of a challenging crossing up there that's just to the east of Revolt Road, kind of near the Brandondale development there. And a lot of cars are cruising pretty fast there. So we're trying to create an underpass that would allow students on the south side of Engler to be able to safely cross and then get on the trail on the north side of Engler and then be able to get to the middle school campus up at the community center. And then the last one, which we have labeled as number 5, would be including trail as part of some improvements along 82nd Street that are currently being planned as well. So a lot of great progress on our top 10 list. And again, by identifying these top 10 trail projects and having it in a plan, it sets us up for some better funding opportunities when we're applying for those and we're able to identify that, hey, this is part of our plan and our vision for our trail system. And then again, to say another thing that would go along with engineering, which was a comment from our residents, was incorporating more bike racks. So creating those end of trip facilities for people to actually park their bike. And I'm showing the traditional bike rack on up to, I think we're going to see in the future more bike lockers. In fact, I recently saw a segment on the news that Minneapolis is looking at incorporating, I think about 20 in 20 different locations throughout Minneapolis, incorporating these bike lockers. And a lot of that is stemming from more and more people purchasing e-bikes. And e-bikes are not cheap. And, so to help encourage people to wanna buy an e-bike and use an e-bike, it's creating that safe place for them to park them. So that they can go to work or go wherever, while their bike's being parked. And then pulling in the other E's, so evaluation. One thing, we're already working on is submitting an application to the League of American Bicyclists, to be considered a bicycle-friendly community, designation here in Chaska. So that's a lengthy, application process. Mary, along with Ashley in our, city planning department, are leading that effort. And I believe the due date for that is in June.
Mid-June.
So between now and June, a lot of effort will be going into inputting all the information into that application. And then, the League of American Bicyclists will evaluate it and then ultimately give us a report back. And hopefully we'll get designated as a bicycle-friendly community. And they have different levels. So you can be, bronze, silver, gold, on up to platinum. And within that report card, they will provide us with, recommendations on what we would need to do to achieve that next level. So to me, I think that's a real just great way for us to, go through that process, have this outside agency evaluate our community, and, our master plan will be a big part of that application for them to evaluate. And really just kind of give us a benchmark of where we're at and then build from there.
Marshall, do you kind of know ahead of time before submitting the application, like, okay, we're shooing for this bronze level, or like, do you kind of just not know that you'll be designated a level?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I feel like, we're doing enough things across all of these E categories, that I'm feeling I'm optimistic to begin with, but, I'm gonna say pretty confidently that I think we'll achieve the bronze, especially as I just compare us to other cities that have already achieved the bronze. And I think having this approved bicycle and pedestrian master plan is also a big, component of getting that as well, because ultimately they're gonna see that we're committed, we've engaged our community, we've got a whole host of recommendations, to continue to build on our network and encourage
Sure.
more people to bike.
There's a wait time too, right? If you submit and then don't get designated a level or want to reapply for another level, there's a wait time,
Yeah, I think it's a couple of years, before you would reapply. And so that actually kind of plays in, if I reel back time, we actually brought in, the executive director from the Minnesota Bike Alliance, about 5 years ago, with the notion that this is something that we were gonna pursue. And they did an initial assessment for us here in Chaska, and one of the recommendations that the Alliance had, was to develop a pedestrian and bicycle master plan. So, and as part of the application process, we will likely re-engage the Minnesota Bike Alliance to just take a look at the information we've put in the application. And that's something that they do, is just to take a look through it and, make sure we're accounting for everything and try to put our best foot forward, as part of that submittal. And then as far as education, that would be looking at refining and distributing trail maps out to the community, implementing a trail wayfinding plan, developing safe routes to school plans. That's another thing we're currently working on, is a safe routes to school plan with Clover Ridge Elementary. Developing some social media campaigns to promote walking and biking. And then, finding opportunities where we can even offer classes and teach people the basics around biking. Encouragement, that's a lot of what we do in Parks and Recreation and collaborating with community and other departments, but this is really creating opportunities for people to just get out and try things. An invitation, if you will. So looking at things like growing our bike to school and bike to work events, incent residents to consider biking to our community events. That might be, or looking at implementing a yearly open streets event, and then even looking at starting walking and biking clubs. Again, just to encourage people to give it a try. Sometimes that's all you need is that nudge, and you realize it was a lot of fun, and then people continue to do it more. Enforcement would be working with our local police department, and again, just finding ways to make sure that people are being safe. At the end of the day, we want people that are driving cars, people that are walking, and people biking all to, respect each other and, be safe in how they're navigating their way around Chaska. So getting the support and involvement from our Chaska Police Department will be a key component in that. And then equity would be the final E. So making sure we're including considerations of equity when funding or prioritizing improvements in the plan, expanding access to walk and bike assets for the city's disparity populations. There again, that was a big piece or a big reason why we met with individuals at the Lake Grace Apartments along with the Riverview Terrace. It's sort of interesting and eye-opening when you look at some of those neighborhoods and they don't have the trail and sidewalk systems like some of the areas throughout Chaska. And so, just being intentional about making sure that all people have that access to walk and bike safely. And then expanding our proactive engagement to all of the city's populations. So as we go about getting feedback, making sure we're hearing from everybody within Chaska. And then not on that list, but something we always strive to do, but just making sure we're meeting ADA requirements along the way too. So those were the highlight, I guess the highlight recommendations within the plan. And like I said, there's a lot more in there for us to, get to over time, which is exciting. The plan has been thoroughly reviewed by the project management team. It's been reviewed by our steering committee. It's been provided to our Parks and Recreation Commission. We also had it out for public review for almost 5 months. It was available on our website. We encouraged people to go out and take a look and provide feedback. And even within that, one of our social media videos we created generated over 4,000 views and 160 visits to the website to take a look at the plan. So that was really great to see. And then, like I mentioned, we also reviewed this plan at our, a joint, um, a joint city council meeting, work session 2 weeks ago. So all that, I think, wrapping it up with a slide that really kind of gets at building on our success. And, if you go down the list here, we're doing a lot of great things. We have a lot of great things in place, and this just continues to build on that. So we've got over 70 miles of trails throughout Chaska and 14 underpasses throughout our system, which is a really impressive amount of underpasses, which I think just shows the commitment to planning over time and, really putting an emphasis on safety and connection throughout Chaska. We got 5 more underpasses being planned into the future. You look at the downtown Highway 41 improvements, and how that's just going to continue to increase walkability throughout our downtown. You're going to see more this spring and summer follow-up to that whole project, where we're going to see some of the development of the paseos. So the alleyways that exist just on both east and west sides of Highway 41 that are going to promote more walking and connectivity to the business community. Some of the wayfinding signage package will start coming into play as part of that too. The new hawk signal crossing on Highway 41. So now we've got a second one that would be just north of the Chaska Boulevard and Highway 41 crossing. That'll allow people to cross safely there as well. Again, the downtown underpass and trail that we talked about, the variety of other trails that we hit on there that are being planned. Our police department continues to help individuals throughout our community get used bikes. So throughout the year, they confiscate bikes that are lost or stolen, and if they don't get reclaimed, they find ways to get those back out to the community. We also have a great relationship with A Better Society, which is a nonprofit in Chanhassen, where one of their big initiatives is fixing bikes and then getting them back out to the community. So our police department has a great relationship there. So continue to do that. They provide bicycle helmet fittings at our community events. As of recently, they've started up a bike patrol. So in the summer, you're seeing our police officers out on bikes a little bit more, and I can see that continuing to grow over time. Again, mentioning the Safe Routes to School plan that's being worked on at Clover Ridge Elementary. We'll continue to build on the Bike to School event also at that school. So that always occurs in May, which is National Bike Month. And our recreation program manager has done a great job coordinating with the school leadership and our other departments to really make that day special. And I'd say the last couple of years, it's been really neat to see the amount of kids and families that choose to bike or walk that day. I mean, there's not enough bike racks. I mean, there's bikes everywhere, and it's really cool. The school district, they too were several years ago able to partner with Carver County Public Health to get funding for a bike fleet. So they're doing some more bike programming as part of the school curriculum. We've now got the Hawk Ridge mountain bike trails that exist here in Chaska that provides a different style of bike riding. And then every Saturday, we've got the free park run 5K event that occurs over by the courthouse. along the levee trails, so. So yeah, a lot of neat stuff already happening, but there's a lot of neat stuff within this plan that will allow us to keep building on that success. So with that, I'll turn it over to see if you have any questions or discussion as it relates to it. And then from there, I would seek a motion recommending city council approve the Chaska pedestrian and bicycle master plan. And with that, I would then bring it forward to more than likely the March 4th city council meeting to put it on their agenda for approval.
Thank you, Marshall. I just want to say that, for me to see this, the master plan finally make it to this point, feels good for me. So I could imagine how great it feels for you guys. I think you've done a fine job. There were some adversity to get through with the plan, and I think you guys stuck it out. And, I think it's a great framework for the future. I also want to take this time to commend Commissioner Weinbein for being a part of the steering committee and representing the commission. Thank you very much. Yeah, but I think it's great, and I think it's ready to go through, so. Yeah. Okay, any other discussion? Good. All right. So then at this point, I'd like to entertain a motion to recommend to city council the approval of the 2040 pedestrian and bicycle master plan.
I moved a motion. The, whatever you said.
Commissioner Stitch,
2040.
I second.
second Wyben. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, on to item number 8, receive council and planning meeting minutes. 8A for the council minutes for December 18th, January 8th, and January 22nd. Is there any discussion on those items? No? Okay. We will receive those minutes. 8B, planning meeting minutes, 11/8/23. Any comment or discussion on those from anyone? Okay, then we don't need a motion or approval on those. We will receive those. Going on to item 9, discussion items.
I know, Sam, you needed to potentially leave, so we are done with our action items. So if you do need to leave, feel free to do so, and then I'll just provide more updates from here on out.
Right, yeah, thank you. Bye, Sam.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Yeah,
Sorry for the confusion.
no worries. Good luck in your speech meeting.
Thank you.
All right, so the big update for this month is just sharing where we're at with the community center master plan. So we have recently finalized the final report with with our consultant team, Perkins and Will. And so that final report has been distributed back out to our citizen task force, along with the project management team, as of about a week ago, 2 weeks ago almost. So it's currently in their hands to review, and then to provide feedback. And then we have planned next week, Wednesday, the 21st, a meeting where we're reconvening the consultants along with our citizen task force to account for any of the feedback that they provide, but more importantly, to start to develop what their recommendation is going to ultimately be to city council. And so we're gonna need to talk through some of the what I would say financing options that can be available to implement the improvements that are available within the plan. And really needing to get that level of commitment from our citizen task force on what those funding options are, so that when they come to council, they're they're not only recommending, the improvements, but they also stand behind and can advocate going forward the method for how to finance those improvements. So we're going to review that with them and talk that through with them. And then from there, we will be scheduling a joint work session with the city council, which will also include the Park and Recreation Commission for Monday, March 18th. So I believe that got put on your calendars already, just as a heads up. But yeah, it'll be that meeting where we'll ultimately review the plan. Representatives from Perkins and Will be at that meeting as well. And then a presentation from the citizen task force will be given to the city council with the recommendation. So
Right.
yeah, another great plan that, it's been a couple year process to get us here. Think we realized that, community center is, there's a lot there to account for. And, I've said to staff along the way, it's actually probably almost harder trying to, remodel and reconfigure something that's existing versus just starting from scratch and building it brand new. There's a lot of just interplays that we had to think through, and you move this here, but then that doesn't quite work, or so there's just a lot of what if scenarios that went into the process. But and a lot of great community engagement went into it too. I feel really good about, the plan and what it's representing. And I think really hitting on, the priorities that were expressed from our residents and our members. So I'm excited. We're at a point where we can kind of share this out now and really bring it forward to our city council, and then start to begin to understand what our next steps are going to be to ultimately fund it, and keep taking steps forward. So that's where it's at. I have not shared the final report with the Park and Rec Commission yet, just because I want to honor that that's really the citizen task force, and it's kind of in their purview as being appointed by our city council, and, leaving room for the potential for them to still potentially make any, changes to the plan. And so once we get through that and we've accounted for their feedback, I'll then share out the final report, just so you have that going into that meeting on March 18th with city council.
Jealous, but understood. Good, Marcel. That's really exciting. Looking forward to that. Very much so. All right, 9B, department happenings.
Right, so with this, I am gonna turn it over to Mary tonight to share some other highlights from the department.
All right, we got some fun stuff coming up this month. We continue to have our batting cages open on the weekends and Wednesdays. So we've got Wednesday 6 to 9 and Saturdays 2 to 5. And Sundays 11 to 1. And I think we'll probably continue that into April. We've got coming up the very popular Sweethearts Dance, February 16th. 6:30 to 8 at the event center, and that is $5 per child. It's a hopping event, so. We've got Parents Night Out, February 23rd, coming up, 5:30 to 8:30. Can leave your kiddos at the community center and be chaperoned while you go out and have fun. We've got adaptive golf coming up in February here. Starts on the 24th and runs through March 9th on Saturdays. There are fees associated with that, so you'll want to jump on and go to the website and check that out. Our beloved community center carnival, spring into action at the community center, is coming up March 1st. And that is 5:30 to 7:30. So super fun event for the kiddos. The AOAs are doing a theater dessert event where they're going to be watching Fiddler on the Roof, March 9th, in the community center theater. And that's 12:45 to 5 p.m. for our AOAs. And then following that, they will return to the lodge and have some yummy desserts. We've got some rookie sports events coming up here or starting in the next month. We've got floor hockey, which actually starts tomorrow for the 3 to 4-year-olds, as well as the 5 and 6-year-olds. That runs tomorrow through March 6th. We've got rookie basketball starting March 13th, and that runs through April 10th. Curls happen, got a lot going on. They're in the thick of leagues, but right now they are doing a curling night out, which is you can curl and have dinner out with a group of 4 and have a fun night eating in the Crooked Pint. And that is Saturday, March 2nd. So I think those fill up pretty quick. So if you are interested, you'll want to act quick. That is it.
Thank you, Mary.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, that moves us on to item 10, other business on the round table. Carly?
I don't have anything
Liz?
for one.
Question on Kelsey, leaving. Are we gonna backfill that? Do you already have something or fill within the community center?
Yep, so I'm currently taking the time to meet with each one of our staff, gather their feedback, and then, yes, we'll be backfilling it. How I backfill it's still a little bit yet to be determined if it's just, replacing it with another manager. I'm also exploring, some potential opportunities to restructure just within the department a little bit too. So working with our HR department on that. Yep.
Yeah, I know May's kind of a ways out there, but if you've driven by the loop, the clubhouse looks like it's close to being finished. Gonna open May 5th.
Yep.
See, so that's, I'm super excited. Taste of Chaska, I think is in May too. What else? Christmas in May, are we doing that this year? Okay,
That is May 4th.
May 4th. All right. And then you mentioned National Bike Month is also in May. Do we kind of have activities lined up yet for that?
Yeah, so I think we're gonna really just kind of hone in on the bike to school event again, and then also the bike to work. And just try to encourage more of the business community along with, city staff. To try biking to work one day that particular week. So, yep.
There's a lot coming up, like spring is coming. It's
Mhm.
exciting. That's it for me.
Nothing from me.
All right. And nothing for me this week. Mary, anything?
No, if anyone would like, a printed out commissioner handbook, let me know. I brought some. But no, otherwise, thank you.
Okay, with that said, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
Wyveen and Sitch. And all in favor, say aye.
I.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.